welcome. You're watching Head to Head. I'm Anastasia with UATV. Last week, the Ukrainian parliament has passed the long-anticipated Anti-Corruption Court bill. This court will be in charge of judging cases against officials indicted by the National Anti-Corruption Bureau. The voting of this law came at a crucial moment for Ukraine, as it was one of the requirements for the IMF to continue helping Ukraine financially. Moreover, according to the recent polls, 87% of Ukrainians favored the creation of this court. To talk more about this law and the importance of the Anti-Corruption Court creation, we're joined in the studio today by Anastasia Krasnosilska. She is the project manager for the Anti-Corruption Action Center in Ukraine. Hello, and thank you for coming.
Greetings.
So, as I have already mentioned in my intro, creating an anti-corruption court was a really big deal, as it is one of the requirements for the IMF. Why else is the anti-corruption court so important for Ukraine to be created?
First of all, creation of anti-corruption court was also a demand from Ukrainian society, and involvement of international experts into selection of anti-corruption judges has also been demanded by Ukrainian society. Anti-corruption court is the last institution we need to finally see results of anti-corruption fight. Right now, we already have independent investigation of high-profile corruption cases, independent prosecution, but we've been lacking this fair justice for cases of high-profile corruption, and Anti-Corruption Court will basically close this gap and finally deliver results, verdicts in cases of high-profile corruption.
What about the judges? Have the judges stayed the same?
Well, for anti-corruption courts, there will be a separate competition for anti-corruption judges. Moreover, the selection procedure will have unprecedented independency guarantees.
What is going to be different about the selection procedure?
International experts will be involved in evaluation of candidates. Special Council of International Experts will be created, and the experts will be given an opportunity to put a veto on any questionable candidate, which will result in his dismissal from the competition.
There have been fears voiced that in Ukraine there are basically no judges that would actually qualify for the anti-corruption court that is aimed to be created. Now, is this true?
No, according to a newly adopted law, not only judges but also lawyers and scientists will be eligible to apply for the anti-corruption court, and eligibility requirements are not that tough, so we expect that a lot of professionals might be interested in competing for the seats of anti-corruption judges.
Okay, so according to the law, what would be the main obligations of the anti-corruption court?
Anti-Corruption Court will deal with cases of high-profile corruption, basically those investigated by Anti-Corruption Bureau of Ukraine, and only with these cases. So the court will not be overloaded. The court will also consider requests on investigative activities in the course of investigation. That's it.
Okay, well, how would those requests be proceeded? From the National Anti-Corruption Bureau, or could anybody just file a lawsuit with the Anti-Corruption Court for a high-profile official to get sued?
This court will deal only with criminal cases, which means only cases investigated by National Anti-Corruption Bureau will go to Anti-Corruption Court for final judgment.
Who do you think would be the first one to end up in the Anti-Corruption Court?
It is difficult to predict, because basically the law on Anti-Corruption Court is only half a victory, because according to the Constitution, another law, a very simple one, is required to actually start creating the court. Right now we are waiting for the President of Ukraine to submit another draft law containing just one sentence: establish high anti-corruption court in Kiev. But this law must be adopted before the competition for high anti-corruption court could be announced.
Since we have all these stages to go through before we actually can start creating the anti-corruption court in Ukraine, how long do you think it will take until we finally have the anti-corruption court?
It is absolutely realistic to have operational anti-corruption court by the end of this year. And it is very important to emphasize that another law, depending on the president, has no obstacles other than political will of the President of Ukraine. And if the President is sincere in his desire to establish anti-corruption court, we will see this draft law from him in the nearest future.
Okay, well, how do you think the European Union is going to react once we actually have the anti-corruption court?
Well, a creation of anti-corruption court has also been a requirement from the European Union to Ukraine.
Exactly.
So we expect European Union to welcome basically creation of anti-corruption court. However, we are also waiting for the final text of the law to see whether there are or are not some shortcomings in the text.
Okay, well, Ukraine is obviously a corrupt country, and it's actually known worldwide for its corruption. We are trying to implement an anti-corruption reform, and do you think that it's actually possible to extract corruption from any country? I don't mean only Ukraine, from any country.
Yes, it is absolutely possible.
And is the anti-corruption law enough? Anti-corruption court, is it enough? Is this all that needs to be done to get corruption out of the system?
Of course, that's not all, but that's crucial, because fair justice for cases of high-profile corruption breaks corruption impunity, which is basically the basis, probably, of corruption in Ukraine.
Thank you so much for coming and sharing this information with us. That was very interesting. That was Anastasia Krasnosilska. She is the project manager for the Anti-Corruption Action Center in Ukraine. Thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned for the rest.